Love it. With that said, let's go down to the ATL. Damon Stoudamire joins us from Georgia Tech. Coach, good seeing you again. Man, it's been a while since the old ACC tip-off. It seems like it was 100 years ago, though, doesn't it?
Man, for real. It really does.
But, since then, I mean, you've knocked off a couple of ranked teams. I mean, you've had the highs and lows. It probably feels like you've been through 2 or 3 seasons already, given what you've seen and experienced.
Yeah, it has. It's been a lot, but I'm excited. I think our guys are excited. And I think they're learning along the way. I think that's the biggest thing. Um, we've had some big victories, and then we've had, what I've thought have been not bad losses, but just disappointing losses. And again, I think we're learning, and I think that 8 games in, um, I'm happy where we're at. I'm not satisfied though, and we got a nice little stretch coming here the next couple of weeks, so I'll be interested to see how we respond uh, over that time.
All right, you say you're happy where you're at, but you're not satisfied. So, on the happy side, from when you inherited this team and started on the court to where they are now, what's impressed you the most? But on the not satisfied part, where's the biggest area of growth that you want to see from this team moving forward?
Where I'm satisfied is you're starting to see the things that we work on in practice, have an effect on the game. It's called game application. So I've impressed upon, our guys the attention to detail on both ends of the floor, and you can see it. But what we got to work on now is sustaining that, and I think that that becomes the challenge. We didn't come into the season, in terms of expectations, the expectations that I put on the guys. I came in and just wanted to get better each and every practice, each and every game. But what happens is when, within your circle, and I'm talking about our group,
Mm-hmm.
um, we start to see us, making strides and taking steps to be a really good team. You take a step back when you don't have the same discipline and you don't have the same urgency. And that's what we're trying to find right now. So I said it to them, and I'm saying it to you guys. I think as we move forward in these next 4 games, they're all new. The ironic thing is they're road games. They're not true road games, but they're neutral site games. So it'll be interesting to see how we play, because in neutral games, especially, one where you know it's an NBA arena. It's going to be big. It's going to be early, and then we go to Diamond Head. I would say that you got to bring your own energy, and that's been my motto. We got to bring our own energy as we go through the course of these next 4 games.
Well, Coach, I'll tell you one thing from a frequent flyer standpoint, you're rocking it, man. You're going New York City, you're going Hawaii, you come back, you go to Tallahassee. It feels like you're back in the NBA on that kind of schedule.
Nah, it was really dumb of me to schedule these games. You know what I mean? It was, you know, and to go from New York to Hawaii, come home, then you know go to Tallahassee, have to play Florida State. Like I said, we'll find a lot about who we are as a team. But I am looking for one thing I will say about the next week and a half is I am looking forward to us spending time together on the road, and I think that'll be big. And I think that we can create memories and we can become closer. We can bond. That's what I think the road does for you.
I'd agree with that. For you personally, Coach, you take over this role. You come, as Pac mentioned, from the NBA ranks here to the college head coaching position. What have you learned most about yourself in the last several months?
I'm more tired being the head coach than I was the assistant. Um, it's just it's a lot of fatigue. It's a lot of physical and mental fatigue. I think that each and every day I go into practice. I go and I over exaggerate a lot of things, and I over exaggerate a lot of things to get across the sense of urgency that we have to be a successful team, and how much each practice, each drill means to us as we move forward. And then obviously, as we're trying to, uh, bring people back and, get people excited about the program, we're out and we're selling, the things that we need to for us to be a successful program. The one thing that I will say is I enjoy every moment of it. I've had a great time being here at Tech. I've had a great time being in the city. I love being around the guys. They make it fun for me, and I love teaching.
Speaking of being around the guys and just how fun it can be, what was that Duke win like? I mean, listen, when you beat a Duke team, that's everybody's Super Bowl, right? When they play a Duke team. And for you guys to do it this early in your tenure, truly, what was that night like for you and your guys?
I think it was big. Again, it was a culmination of the things that we've been working on in practice coming to light. The fellas put it together. I thought they were poised down the stretch, made plays when they needed to be made, and I was really happy for them. I was really happy for the fans, and for them to see us early on in a game that for us is really big, and it's a momentum builder for the program, and it was huge, and I was excited, but I would say the coach and me. Uh, I was really thinking about how do I get these guys back down from the high of beating, not only Duke but Mississippi State in 1 week, and trying to, you know, put perspective on the things that we had just done.
Coach, I'm curious, given your NBA career, playing, coaching, and everything else, where this, the lifestyle, and you're just constantly go, go, go. And you mentioned, you're going to New York, Honolulu, and back to Florida State. I bet the conversations that you have with your kids have got to be interesting, because I'm sensing that they probably are asking you 1,000 questions. Would that be accurate? Because I mean, you've lived what they would love to accomplish. So I'm curious how that back and forth goes in the conversations you have with your players.
Well, I tell them all the time, and even with this road trip coming up, I mean, we got to make the best of it. Right now we can't worry about things that are going on. In terms of like, I don't know, it's a 12, 13 hour flight. Number one, to get to Hawaii, but at the end of the day, I try to give them stories. Last year, I remember uh, we played Toronto in Toronto. Then we had to fly to Phoenix and play in 1 day off. And so this is a part of it. In the NBA, I played on Christmas 2 years in a row. It's a part of it. So I've tried to give my perspective from that and not allow built-in excuses to come into play. We got to put on our hard hat. And the biggest thing about our team is we play 10, 11 people. So we have multiple bodies we can throw out there. So I'm not necessarily relying on one individual to be successful for us each and every night. We have a collection, and I don't think it'll be any different, especially coming up in these 4 games that we're about to play.
I know you have a collection of dudes, but Miles Kelly, who we saw here in Charlotte a couple of months ago at Media Day, has had an incredible season thus far, and it really feels like he's grown a lot since last year. He's obviously your leading scorer, averaging 17 points per game. What have you seen out of Miles in this whole effort over the last couple of months?
Well, the thing about Miles is I think he's made a concerted effort to try to be a two-way player. I think on the defensive end, he's doing a good job of getting down and trying to guard and help us on that end of the floor. He's done a great job rebounding the ball. He had a career high 12 rebounds against Mississippi State, and I think the points and the points have come. And the thing about it is, I think that Miles is a guy that has to learn. Now that he's being asked to do more, he has to be, I would say, more efficient. And I think that, his field goal percentage reflects that, but I'm not worried about that because I know that he's a good shooter. So I know that those numbers will come up. But I'm excited and I'm really happy for him because he's responded to everything that I've asked him to do. And I think that as the year goes on, he'll only get better.
Damon, I'm curious too, given your playing days and how quick the NBA game is, it's got obviously the best players in the world, but spacing and pace is just a completely different animal, especially for folks who see an NBA game in person. And then all of a sudden you watch the college game. You making that transition, especially as a guard, how has that been the first handful of games knowing that this isn't the NBA? But yet, some of the things I know that are going in your head that, hey, I can incorporate some of the things I learned from the NBA into the college game. How difficult has that transition been for you?
It hasn't been as difficult as I thought it would. The guys have actually picked things up fast. On the offensive end, just collectively, we're not shooting the ball well, so it doesn't look as fluid at the moment. And on the defensive end of the ball, I knew that our defense would start slow, based on I didn't really implement a lot of things during the summer because I didn't have a full roster and I didn't want to have to teach it twice. But I think the biggest adjustment, for college is figuring out how to play two bigs. In the NBA, you don't play really two bigs, so it's just figuring out the spacing of that and different things. When we go small, we're perfect, but, playing big is the thing that you try to get guys to understand. And you teach them different concepts, so they can become good in their role and help us in those situations. But you're trying not to put bigs in scenarios where they're like fish out of water neither. So, you're trying to, for me and how and how we want to play, being able to, uphill DHO set really good screens, roll, be able to make a rim read if you catch that roll pass. So, those are the things that we talk about and we work on each and every day. But that's the biggest thing, I think, for me. And it's, I think it's something that's ever evolving because I see a lot of college coaches, trying to figure that out as well.
All right, Coach, heading to Madison Square Garden. You know the place. It's a noon tip-off, so it's early in the day. What's your message to your team heading to New York this weekend against a Penn State team?
Well, you got to wake up. You just got to figure it out. Now, we do practice early, but it is an early game. So, you got to do what you need to do to get prepared because, noon is usually when we're coming back from our shoot-around. If we're on the road and if we're at home, we would be getting done with the shoot-around around that time. So you have to change your mindset because the game starts at noon. You can't get punched in the mouth and be down 15 and then say you're ready to play. So both teams are at a disadvantage from that standpoint, but we need to come out and we got to have a great start come Saturday.
By the way, the city that never sleeps, man, I'm not concerned about your guys waking up. I'm worried about them being just the exact opposite, man. You'll be in New York City, you'll be energized, man. Coach, what are you talking about? Those kids aren't sleeping; they're ready to go.
Well, I hope so. I hope you're right. But I don't think our kids know enough about New York City to know what you're talking about. We might know. Look, we might know what New York City has to offer.
That is true.
But I don't think those kids know enough.
By the way, speaking of Madison Square Garden, what is your greatest moment in the world's greatest arena?
Actually, it was a noon game. We had a noon game when I was with the Toronto Raptors, and I think I had about 30 points, and I was able to find Doug Christie, my former teammate, for a winning 3-point basket. So the Northwest connection was at it again, and that was a great memory. And the Garden is the Garden, boy. I mean, there's an aura in there, and I tell you, to me, it's one of the best basketball atmospheres in this world.
You're right about that. Well, listen, happy holidays, safe travels. You're off to a really good start. You got people buzzing, which is a good thing, no pun intended. But we look forward to having you on the show many more times, and keep on rocking, my man.
Okay, you guys. Thanks for having me. You guys have a good holidays as well.
You too.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.